Speaking of which, just want you to know.
Podcast Tonight presents The Culture Cafe with Will Love.
Well, that's what opening up a can of whoop-ass feels like.
Son, you just opened a whole case of whoop-ass.
Take a listen to this.
The show is just about to start.
Here we go.
Are you ready to do this? Let's take it from the top.
It is not for the faint-hearted.
What up? It's your boy Will Love with another podcast. Now, if you thought last week's pod with adult film mogul Michael Lucas was entertaining, then you ain't heard nothing yet. Recently, I drank a little too much Unfiltered Blonde, the award-winning Chardonnay by Brandi Glanville, and I got the 411 from the controversial author, model, and reality television star. I got some good exclusives, so forgive my tipsiness and let the games begin. Today's guest on Culture Cafe is a kick-ass female who I first interviewed at a former radio station of mine in 2012, and again in 2013 for a pilot I was asked to do that went nowhere. I really resonate with Brandi Glanville because of some of the shit she's gone through, from international supermodel to wife betrayed to two-time best-selling author, star of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and proprietor of a hot award-winning Chardonnay, Unfiltered Blonde, which I'm actually drinking right now. Brandi, how are you, baby girl?
I'm good. I'm jealous I'm out there drinking with you.
I know, it's really not fun to drink by yourself, but technically I'm not by myself now that I'm speaking to you.
Sure, as long as you're talking to someone out there not drinking alone, you know you don't have a problem.
Yeah, very true. I mean, I've done it before, but it's not that frequent, so I think we're all good.
I mean, a couple glasses of wine in the evening when you're watching your favorite reality show, I think, is a pass. You're good with that.
Yeah, or like to de-stress after work is more of when it happens.
Exactly, and then most people need like a scotch because work is stressful.
Oh yeah, my thing is vodka. I mean, I can't do tequila because I puke, but I like vodka and mixed drinks.
See, vodka, I mean, if I'm going to drink hard alcohol, it will be vodka, but I'll be on the table, like, with my shirt off and 2 drinks. So I have to stick pretty much to wine and sake. That's it.
Oh, okay, you're a wine connoisseur. See, I have to be honest with, and it's no bullshit, and I'm not saying this just because I like you. I'm not a big fan of wine, in particular red wine. However, I like the way your wine tastes. Like, it's a little bit different than the wine that I've tried.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. I wasn't a huge fan going into it of Chardonnay. I like the lighter white wine, but after doing all the taste tests, I became a little bit of a wine snob. But I'm like, wait, I want it to be this Chardonnay. And they're like, well, that one costs $37, and that's not what we're making. I'm like, well, let's copy it as close as we can and get a product that's just as good but less expensive so that everyone can afford it.
See, that's a very smart concept because, like, it's really not that expensive. I mean, I ordered it online, so shipping was a little bit of a bitch, but...
I mean, the bottle's heavy, so ultimately right now we're working and getting it in stores across the country. It's not as fast. I'm a little impatient. I'm used to, like, saying, okay, I want it here. It doesn't work like that because usually restaurants and stores do they're ordering quarterly.
Yeah.
So you have to wait for that quarter to be up, and then it's just slower than I thought, but I'm really happy. It is in a lot of Fatmos and Total Wines, and a lot of like mom and pop places here in Hollywood, a lot of restaurants, Blue Wire Grill, Craig's, all of these places are now carrying it. So it's a slow go, but eventually you'll be able to walk into your store in your town and get it for $15 off the shelf, you know?
Yeah, no, I know it's like in a lot of places on the West Coast. We got to work on getting it to the East Coast now.
No, it's a slow go. Like I said, we're in Nevada and Southern and Northern California and Arizona right now, but it's going to take over the world, I swear.
It is really, I'm not just saying it, it is really good. It doesn't have that aftertaste, and that's why I don't like wine, because it has, a lot of wines I've tried have this aftertaste after the fact, which really bugs me. This doesn't, and it actually is kind of sweet, which I like.
Yeah, it's on the lighter side of Chardonnay, and it's not really acidic, and that's my big thing, is I don't like a lot of acid. It's like that aftertaste thing. And it's a really smooth, oaky, lovely Chardonnay. And I wish I was, and if you're making me thirsty, I wish I was drinking with you.
Well, you know, when you come back on the East Coast, one of my best friends lives in Manhattan. He's a lawyer in Manhattan. So when you come back on the East Coast, you need to have us show you around to like all the hot gay bars and Italian restaurants. We'll have fun.
Oh my God, that sounds like a plan. You're making me hungry and thirsty.
let's get into this a little bit. We'll come back to the wine later. Well, first off, before I get into anything else, I'm a son of divorce. Unfortunately, my parents divorced I'm in my 20s. My parents divorced a little bit later in life. They divorced a couple years ago, and it sucks. Like, I didn't think that it would have the effect on me that it's had. And now recently they've finally became friends, which I never thought was going to happen. And now I see with you, which I'm glad that you, Eddie, and LeAnn are all finally getting along. How the hell did that happen?
Well, honestly, it took some work. I'm not going to lie. And, we still have our ups and downs. But the truth of the matter is I'm very lucky that my kids were so little when this all happened that they really don't remember that much of it. And so what they remember is us always being apart. So they don't remember the fighting, the back and forth and all of that. And I'm very, very, I just never speak ill of their father or LeAnn in front of them. We've been going back and forth and sometimes we fight. It happens. I'm not going to say it doesn't. We really wanted to have the kids turn out to be great little boys and not have our bullshit, affect them at all.
You see, and that's what's important ultimately at the end of the day. Now, especially because I know your kids are young, or like fairly young, but they're getting older now. So being as all three of you are all in the press, I do think it's a smart decision to, even if you're not the biggest fans of one another, to just like suck it up for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, we don't have to be best friends and braid each other's hair on the weekends, but we can go to, a kids play together and all sit together so the kids aren't searching over the whole audience when mom's on one side and dad's on one side. I definitely 100% put the kids first.
Yeah.
And I think it's rubbing off on them as well.
That's so good. Going back, not that I want you to relive anything, but I was surprised at how much I enjoyed your books. And I think it's because of how deep they were. Caution you, I'm not throwing shade when I say this, but you discussed how after Eddie and LeAnn initially shacked up, that you'd stare at pictures of them online in awe that he chose like that, and it made you feel very insecure. And your honesty to me was very attractive, and I say this because when I first came out as gay, I got into a committed relationship, which lasted a couple years where ultimately I was betrayed, and I have to be honest, I did the same thing afterwards. I would just stare and I would be like, why did he choose this person who really, why? And it really fucked me up after the fact. I can only imagine how long it took you, especially being as you were married, you had kids. Has infidelity...
Listen, sorry.
No, go on. What were you going to say? Go on.
Everyone I know that goes through a breakup cyber stalks for a little while, and I think it's completely normal. And to be honest, to this day, 6 years later, when my kids are with them, and I miss them, I'll go on LeAnn's Twitter and see what she's posting about them, see where they are, because they're always in, like, a tour bus going somewhere or going camping. And I don't care about her, but it's a way to kind of peek in to see what they're doing on, my husband's time, my ex-husband's time. And it's so natural and normal. You can't help yourself but to wonder what life is like now for those, on the other side. So if people are like, oh yeah, I'm over it, it's done, you're lying.
I mean, I wasn't obviously married, I didn't have kids, but when I first came out, I got so involved and invested in this relationship where I got so fucked over in the end. I went through like my own downward spiral, and it's just refreshing that you're so open about, your past experiences. I thought that was very attractive.
At the time, even to this day, Eddie was the love of my life. Hopefully I will have another one. My kids are the love of my life. So, to have them taken away from me, all three of them, and then to be able to go online and see what they were doing is really when I started my drinking. I'm like, I really wasn't a drinker before. I was like, Christmases that I didn't have the kids, I would just sit and sob and, down a bottle of Chardonnay by myself because I didn't want anyone else to see me that upset.
Yeah.
And it was horrible and humiliating and... Listen, it's just the truth. It happened for a couple of years. And, you have to, the only thing that heals is time.
Yeah, and sometimes that time's long, but
sometimes it takes years and years and years. And ultimately, when you come out of a relationship that was such a huge part of your life, you're a changed person. You are never going to be that same person again because now you've dealt with a breakup and trust issues and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And you change. You're evolved into somebody else.
Yeah.
So, it's something that I don't think people quite get, but you're supposed to change. You're allowed to change. We're all going to have a little chip on our shoulder. We're all going to have trust issues. this is what makes life interesting. I mean, it is what it is.
Has infidelity scarred you? I can't help but worry that like history will repeat itself. Do you worry about that, or are you finally just like over it?
No, I'm totally scarred. I think all men cheat, and I don't trust anyone I date. And I know it's an inside job. I know it's me. But because of what I've gone through in the past, and the boyfriends I've had since Eddie have cheated as well, I have a little bit of, the glass is half full when it comes to men and trusting them.
Your books have told this story of you basically, sort of moving on. You moved on from that, then you're dating these guys, which it's like a roller coaster ride. Now, you had mentioned that you're going to be putting out like a third book. Is your third book going to be like an expose of reality television? What'll it consist of?
It's not going to be an expose of reality television, but it's going to be a hybrid of a lot of different things. There's going to be the tell-all parts that are just who I am, and there's going to be, the reality fight chapter, absolutely, and there's going to be kind of behind the scenes on things, and then I want to put, honestly, season, it's just going to be a hybrid of mishmash, but it's all 100% me, what I've gone through, what I'm going through, and things that I love.
Now, is there like a release date? Are you planning to like release it to coincide with any upcoming projects, or are you just still working on it?
We're about done with it, but it now needs to go into editing, and that takes a long time. So I think that right now we're hearing February of 2016. So yeah, it's coming soon, and I'm hoping that I will be able to make it come out with something else I'm doing, so can promote it.
Now, I want to move on to the hot mess that is Beverly Hills. When you, it really is. I mean, it's a gorgeous city. Like everyone looks gorgeous on the show, but everyone's a little bit fucked up on it, to be honest. And when you first came onto Housewives, you were introduced by Adrienne Maloof. Now, she didn't necessarily have your back per se, but she was your way in. Now, from a viewer's perspective, to me at least, it seemed obvious that Lisa Vanderpump was using you to expose Adrienne until she finally dropped you when the job was done. Maybe that's just because I was in a friendship where that very similar scenario played out, except I wasn't on TV getting a big paycheck like you were. Nevertheless, do you regret burning that bridge with Adrienne, because the only one that benefited from it in the end was Vanderpump?
Yeah, I do. I definitely, listen, I have to take responsibility for what I said and what I did. At the end of the day, I do feel like I was a little bit used, then dropped when she felt like the audience was turning against me. And, it's sad. It's what we sign up for, and it sucks. But it's what we sign up for, and we all have this amazing platform to do these lines and these books and all of these other things. It is what it is.
Do you ever kind of wish that you didn't sort of expose Adrienne and wish that you remained friends with her instead of getting involved with Lisa, which ultimately ended? In my own personal life, the experience that I relate this to, I do regret burning certain bridges for one friend who screwed me over in the end. In your case, do you kind of regret that, or do you just not care?
Well, I mean, at this point, Adrienne and I are friends again. So, friend Lee, I see her, we say hello, we text on occasion. Yeah, I have tons of regrets. I looked at things that I did and said and wish I could have handled them differently. But you can't go backwards, and it's on TV for the rest of your life. But you live and learn. Even this last season, there's things I absolutely regret, but you just can't take it back.
This past season, you made the show. I personally liked season 4 much better than season 5. Honestly, outside of you, the only other chicks I enjoy on the show are Yolanda, Marissa, the real estate agent who was on for like a quick second, and Carlton. Now, are you actually friends with...
Awesome.
I mean, they gave her a bad edit. I follow her online on Twitter, and she's like super spiritual, and so am I. And it was interesting because there wasn't a housewife that came from that background. Now, are you actually friends with anyone from that show today, or no?
Yeah, I see Carlton all the time. I love Carlton. She's got the biggest heart. It was unfortunate, the way that she was portrayed on the show. That is a part of her, but there's so much more to her. We literally had dinner last week. I saw Yolanda yesterday, which visited her. She, just had her surgery. I've made real friends on the show, absolutely. And I would say Yolanda and Carlton are the two, and Kim, that I come away, still talking to and checking in with and visiting and hanging out with and going to dinners. But you can make real friends on reality TV, and those chicks are just real. They're the same off camera as they are on camera. Unfortunately, you can't see everything when they're on camera, like their entire, you see what? 44 minutes a week, and there's 6 of us, so you don't really get a full rounded out picture of who Carlton is.
Yeah, it's very true. And
I can hook you up with her. I can give you her email. She's really sweet. She would happily do an interview with you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I would totally love to speak with her. I'm super spiritual, kind of like her, so it would be really interesting to interview her for multiple reasons.
As long as you have a bleep button, or you can say fuck, then you're good, because it's her favorite word more so than mine.
Well, I mean, on the podcast, that's why, you could say anything you want. I love working in commercial radio because it allows me to connect with so many people. But the reason that I'm really excited and I enjoy this podcast is because it allows me to not be so self-aware, which I have to be when I'm on the stations.
You really have to think before you speak. I know when I'm doing interviews, I always have to say, okay, no F-bombs. Like, wait, is it cable? What are we doing?
Yeah. Now, over the past year, you were on Celebrity Apprentice and the season 5 reunion for Housewives. You were seated right next to Andy Cohen. I mean, this past season was all about you, so I was super shocked to see that you, of all people, got demoted. Considering Andy, in my opinion, falls for Vanderpump's gimmicks and Kyle allegedly has a percentage share in the show, which I want to know if that's true. Did you see your demotion coming or no?
Yeah, I felt it in my gut. I actually just felt like I was going to get fired. I don't know why. It was a really hard season for me, and it was really emotional. I was very stressed out. I was trying to do what was right for Kim, because I was trying to protect her and what was going on with her, and I didn't think it was the right place to out anything bad about Kim on TV. I didn't want to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And so, and that's possibly why I got fired. I don't know, but I still know that no matter what, I was a good friend by not, airing anybody's dirty laundry and not trying to throw somebody under the bus to make myself look better. I just don't do that.
Yeah, no, I know. I was just surprised in general because whether or not you acted like an asshole or not on the show was all about you. It was boring when you weren't involved. You were on Celebrity Apprentice, you were seated right next to Andy Cohen, so I felt like you were basically like the prime figure, and then for you to just disappear this next season, I don't think that's going to be good for ratings, because I think the other women are just it's like watching paint dry.
Well, that's very sweet of you. Andy and I are close friends, and he knew that I had a really tough season. Like, we're friends, we text, and I would tell him, this is going on, and it was just hard across the board for me just because I was so stressed out with everything on my plate, and I wanted to be a good friend to Kim and take care of her and make sure that things didn't come out when they, I felt like everyone was going after her.
Which I
wanted to protect her.
I felt like, honestly, they were going after the weakest link. And I felt like it was very...
Yeah, exactly. It's like she's an easy target. Like, you go after somebody else. It's been 4 seasons of people going after Kim.
Yeah.
It's like, stop. Do something else.
And
somebody else do something.
It's like they choose each season, I feel like, to go after the weakest link, and that's what makes it a little bit repetitive after a while, because it's the same formula. And is it true that Kyle has a percentage in the show, and that's why she never gets fired? Because I read that somewhere.
I've never heard that in my life. I really don't know that.
Okay.
I seriously doubt it, but you never know.
I don't know if it's true or not, and I'm not saying it is, but I had heard that a long time ago, with the reason being is because she brought the original cast onto the show. So she supposedly had like a 3%, maybe more stake in it. I don't know. That's just what I heard. So, and it made sense to me at least, because a lot of people wanted her off and she never goes off. And she's always in front with a diamond. It's either her or Vanderpump.
Sorry to keep interrupting. I don't know. It sounds like it could make sense. I know the show originated with Kyle, and she was the first one to be a part of it, and to kind of come up and find the other women. That's all, what I do know was they first ultimately went to her, and then they brought on Kim as well. But I've not heard that she's like a producer or has a percentage. But you never know. You just really don't.
Yeah, true. Well, I work in real estate, and I have to say that I loved your last home. I have a thing for pimped out ranch homes with a view, and on the East Coast, it's a rarity because everything here is always like 2 floors. I don't want to talk much about Joanna Krupa, mainly because I view her as like a privileged individual who sues out of spite, but is all the money that you're spending on this frivolous lawsuit that's such a waste of taxpayer money what caused you to not buy the home you leased and move to a condo?
Yep. That's about it. I'm spending every dollar I've saved from Housewives is going towards this lawsuit. And I even offered to settle with her. I've apologized. I've offered her a dollar amount. I think that this whole thing is suppressed, which she's an animal lover and like she's a kid lover. These are dollars that I need to take care of my children. I don't get it.
But
and it's just gotta have. You have to defend yourself. It's ridiculous. That this is even happening. We have contracts that say you're not allowed to sue one another. So I don't. It's very stressful.
It's just, it doesn't make sense to me because it's suing over a stupid comment and a joke. That's like if I were to say, and I'm not saying any names, but if I were to say so-and-so has a small dick and I get sued for it, it's the same shit. Like, I just don't get how it's possible. Is this like a lawyer that she's friends with? Joanna made it clear in the press that she wanted to be on Beverly Hills Housewives after Miami got canceled. So do you think that she initially sued you hoping it would give her a storyline to transition onto your show?
That is part of what I think could be possible. She at the time obviously didn't know that I wasn't going to be part of the show, but that's all alleged. I don't know. I can't speak on it because we're literally going into depositions in a week. So I don't want to say too much to get myself in trouble.
Yeah, no, I don't want you to get in trouble either.
It's just an unfortunate situation, and allegedly she's friends with her lawyer. Allegedly, he's doing this for, I don't know. But it doesn't make any sense because we're public figures. If I sued
That's what I don't understand.
I've never sued a person in my life. But if I sued everyone that said something negative about me, I would live the rest of my life in court.
It's, in my opinion, it's such like an ignorant, privileged thing to do. Like, like you use your money to like sort of intimidate other people. It just bothers me because I don't really follow the girl. I thought she was cool at first because of all the work that she did with like animals. I'm very proactive in the same thing. But I'm the
same. I love animals 100%.
But I saw one video. I saw one video on TMZ, but she was going off at the camera saying stuff like, I'm surprised Brandi didn't have her kids taken away by now. All this stuff. I don't get how that's not taken into account when you just said one thing and she continued for so long saying all these other things. It just doesn't make sense to me as a normal person.
Honestly, I in my heart believe that this is just a press grab because I tried to shut this down a long time ago and make it go away. And, she's wearing Team Rimes t-shirts and she's getting set up photo, things and teams run. It just seems like she wanted the fight to continue for some reason. And I really don't know her. I think she's a stunningly beautiful girl, but
but beauty is skin deep,
at the money that I'm spending on something that is so ridiculous. But, it is what it is, and you have to defend yourself thanks to, our court. And I can't just go and, defend myself without a lawyer, which I wanted to do. But it's crazy, Callie.
What's next for you? I mean, I know there has to be something in the work. And what are you currently working on TV-wise?
So I haven't shot yet this year on Housewives. But like I said, they started late, and they're still shooting. And there's talks of, if it makes sense and I'm available, I'll definitely shoot. I love the show. I love Yolanda, but I'm not going to walk into a dinner and be a target for women I haven't seen all year. It's like, I'll yell at me once and then have their season and I don't come back. I would love, I truthfully am close with you. And so if there's something that makes sense in that setup, I'll do it. But ultimately, I think that everything happens for a reason. Like I said, I'm happy. I'm not stressed out. I'm off my antidepressants. I'm drinking less. It's like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, and now I have all these amazing things going on. I just did an acting job, and I have another acting job in Australia, which I'm going to on the 1st of October. I have 2 shows that I will be doing. One is a development deal for me to do my own docu-soap series, which is basically my own reality show. And one is a show that is already, picked up and going to air. And that starts shooting in November. So I'm happy. I owe Bravo a huge hug, and I love them, and they'll always be part of my family. I'll always be friends with Yolanda and Andy, and I'm so close with all of our producers still. We still hang out. We just don't talk about the show.
Yeah.
So, I think it was my time to go. I think that it was at a point where it became really unhealthy for me to be in the situation with those women.
No, I totally hear you. And I really wish you the best. I think you have and this is the Pisces in me predicting shit, that they're going to either want you back, or even if you don't come back, your own projects are going to get more attention. I'm interested already. Do you know when they're going to actually air? I'm assuming 2016?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know that the shoot, the November shoot, is a short shoot, so I don't think it takes that long. I don't know the turnaround dates or anything because they don't really tell you. They're just like, we're doing this. And you never know how long with editing things actually take. Everyone's different. I'm excited. I personally am still going to watch Housewives. I'm excited to see... Without Kim and myself, I'm excited to see who's going to turn on who, because somebody's got to.
I
have a feeling, and if they go after Yolanda, I will walk in there and kick all of their asses. Because you don't go after somebody who's battling Lyme disease and sick as a dog. And from what I gathered, that might be happening. And I will kill some old bitches.
I have to be honest, I feel like they picked the most unlikable fucking women to be a part of this next season. And I know they're adding that new Erica chick who's I'm
excited for her. I think she looks interesting. I loved her because she had a necklace on that said cunty, and I'm like, oh my god, I think I like this girl.
Isn't her husband a lawyer? Maybe her husband could help you out with the lawsuit.
I don't know, but she's friends with Yolanda, and all of Yolanda's friends I love, so... I'm sure she's cool. And, honestly, I looked her up. She's the reason I will be watching.
Oh, so that means I'm probably going to like her because she's probably going to tell the other ones off.
Yeah, I mean, she's sexy. She's hot. She's a little inappropriate. I don't know her. I've never met her. I've just looked at her videos, and my friend Mark knows her. Well, he knows who she is, and he's a fan. So usually when Mark likes someone, I like them. And I think that she will be, the dark horse, the fun one, the entertaining one. That's me, again, just guessing.
Yeah, you're probably right. So you said you're only friends with Carlton and Yolanda and Kim. By the way, I watched the VMAs recently. Gigi looks exactly like Yolanda, but like a younger version.
Yeah, those girls are killing it. They're so gorgeous. And she actually looks exactly like Yolanda's mom, identical to Yolanda's mom when she was younger. And I mean, I'm so proud of them. They're so good. They're good girls. They are ruling this world right now.
I know, they really are. Yolanda must be proud. How is she doing on the health front?
She, like I said, she just had her implants taken out, and she said that has made a difference. It's obviously a really tough surgery to heal from, so she showed me all the pictures of what they took out, and I almost threw up, but I just don't like blood and guts, but I saw it all.
Yeah.
She is the strongest woman I know. She will fight this, and she had scars under her arms and on her, everywhere. I saw everything, and she's like, I'm gonna go get on the treadmill. I'm like, I don't even get on the treadmill. And I mean, she is a proud mama. She's got an amazing husband, and she shuts it down. She's like, nope, this isn't happening. I just love how strong she is. She can handle anything.
Watching the show, that's why I really liked her, because she was just very direct. She didn't seem like she rehearsed shit beforehand like everyone else. You know what I mean?
She doesn't. She doesn't really talk to the other ladies. So she's not sitting there talking on the phone about the show every day, all day long, because she's got real life problems. She's battling Lyme disease, and that's a 24-hour day job. And there's no bullshit with her. And I like it. And you know what? When we're together and we're talking, it's real. We just say exactly how we feel, and we're similar, except she's just a lot stronger and doesn't say the F word as much. But she's someone I really admire and look up to, and if there's anything that's going on in my life, she's my call, if I need advice. She just is so wonderful on every level.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. At least you walked away with one true friend from that whole all the years of being on that show. Now, with your...
Oh, yeah, no, of course. Carlton's awesome. I mean, we'll be friends forever. I know that. My girlfriend, I've had for 20 years, and I rarely make new ones. But with Yo and Carlton, it just fits. So when you know, you know.
Yeah, it's so true. So with these programs that you're working on, will we expect some of the friends that we've seen you film with, Yolanda and Carlton, some of the hot supermodel friends that you're friends with, etc.?
I hope so for the docu-stuff that I'm going to do that we're producing. I'm hoping that my friend, it can't just be about me. I'm like, you guys are coming to help me out. But I want to show a different side. I want to show the fun that I have. I have fun every day, all day long. I mean, we are so goofy and fun. And listen, my life is all drama. Every day there's drama, but I just deal with it.
Yeah.
And I deal with it in a happy, fun way that you never really got to see on Housewives, because you're the villain of the year. They don't show the fun and happy
Of course.
that you shot. So, Mark and I shot so many hilarious moments, and they just didn't make the cut.
That sucks, because I think people would enjoy to see that. I mean, I would at least. You know what I mean?
They're building a story, and if I'm a villain and I'm sitting there having fun and being nice to people, it's not really it doesn't fit into their story. Because, I did do the bad things too, but I also am a great mom. I have fun. I'm with my friends. I'm goofy as heck. I break dance for my friends all the time.
Are we, since we're talking about these programs that you're working on that really have me intrigued, are we going to finally get to see, like, your sons? Or is there going to be, like, interesting moment where Eddie and LeAnn pop up? Or is that just not in the cards?
I serious doubt that Eddie and LeAnn will be on the show. But,
well, didn't they want you on theirs? Didn't they want you on theirs, allegedly?
Yeah, no, they said they didn't. But they did. They offered a lot of money, and I said no. But it's fine. I probably was on their show anyway, because all they did was talk shit about me. No, the kids, my eldest doesn't want to be on TV, which makes me happy, because some of the shit that comes out of his mouth, I'm like, we do not need that on camera. But my little guy, Jake, he's a star. Like, there's no stopping him. He is going to take over the world at some point. He is going to be, he's something else, I'll tell you that. He's so smart, he's witty, he's talented. He's like 8 going on 30. And he doesn't like the camera. He loves the camera.
Oh, see, that's a good thing. Kids need to have confidence, especially, like, boys, because I grew up and it was just, like, the only woman in my household was my mother. And I actually feel like boys are more sensitive than girls, especially kids, but they don't show it. I mean, that was me, at least, and I think my brothers. Do you know what I mean?
My eldest is very sensitive, and my little one really isn't, so, I think every kid is completely different.
So these shows have me intrigued, that's the other question I want to ask. Now I feel like I'm getting a little bit of tipsy because I've been chugging on this wine of yours this past...
Literally, it takes one glass for me to change, and I'm like, what was I talking about?
Yeah, I'm very lean. Like, I'm fit, but I'm, like, very lean and thin, so it really sets in, like, quick with me.
It's weird because it's not if I have any other drink, of wine, it's just the Chardonnay. I'm like, woo, I'm already buzzed. I like it.
And this is a good, just over 14% alcohol. It's a good volume.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
Oh, so I do listen to your podcast, because you also have a podcast, which is on Podcast One, huge. Yes. For example, the Mary Jo Eustace interview, I loved. Oh my God. I just loved it because you could feel, like, the honesty and the authenticity in the interview. I know there was some talks. Are you and her working on a show?
We're not working on a show. I really do love her. I think that she is so intelligent. She has so much to say, and she's so bright. And you can tell she's on radio and hosting before.
Yeah.
I would love to have her on my podcast, full time, just to have someone to bounce off of. But right now, it's just hard to fit things in, because her and I can sit and talk about what we have in common. But to have a co-host on a podcast, it can be a little difficult.
Oh, yeah. So
we're just trying to figure out something that we can do together. I do really, really like her. We text all the time. I'm impressed by her. You have no idea the shit she goes through. So we have a lot, we have a lot in common. We talk about things that go on with our exes, and we kind of vent to each other, and it's really nice to have someone that I can talk to about that stuff.
Yeah, it's nice to have that camaraderie, and I'm glad you have it. There was such a connection in that interview. Your podcast is also, obviously an amazing podcast. Who are some of your best and your least favorite interviews that you've done? I'm putting you on the spot, I know.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I think my favorite, I love interviewing my friends, because yesterday I interviewed Ashley Hamilton from the E! Show, Stewart and Hamilton's. I've been friends with him for 20 years. We used to date. And I like it when I have insight of little things that people don't know, because I can be like, oh, remember that trip we took to Vegas? And kind of talk about our personal stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fun. Sometimes it's hard to have doctors in or experts in on health, because I don't, I'm not an expert on health, and I can do my research, but I don't want to come off sounding dumb. It can be a a little difficult for me to interview like doctors and
Yeah.
lawyers about things because I don't know that world.
Now,
So I would say I like to challenge myself and I like to have them on, but it is much harder to interview those types of people than it is actresses and actors.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. I mean, I'm learning a little bit about law because one of my best friends is a lawyer, but nonetheless, those type of characters are, if you don't know them personally, it could be a little bit difficult. I was so glad when I saw you interviewed Margaret Cho, because I interviewed her years ago, and I love her. I also didn't know when I had interviewed her myself a couple times that she was so serious. So did you...
No, I was thrown off. I had all these jokes ready, and she was not in a happy. She was a very serious person, but I think comedians can tend to be that way. That hadn't been my experience, but that's what I hear after the podcast. I was like, wow, like she's serious.
Yeah, no, she is, like, I didn't expect it either when I had interviewed her, and even when I met her, because after I had interviewed her for a gay magazine I worked for at the time, you know, I saw her live and I chilled with her backstage a little bit, and she was she was totally nice. I love her, but she's a very serious woman.
Oh, no, I was not prepared for that, and I felt like, oh my God, she hates my guts. That's how I felt after the interview. I'm like, she hates me. But, you know, I looked it up, and she is very serious, and I understand that. And I'm a fan of her comedy. I'm just a fan of hers in general. Did I love her podcast? No. I left feeling like she really didn't like me or respect me, but that's just me being sensitive.
That's just her personality, though. Like, I mean, I love her because she's done so much for gay rights in general.
Exactly.
And she's a big
very
advocate.
Smart. She's very into the whole LGBT, all of this, and that's why I respect her immensely.
Yeah.
I just wanted to have a little more fun, and I felt like, oh God, did she hate me? You know when you get those people that are like, what do you want to talk about? They're like, oh.
Yeah, no, but you probably turned her on in the end. I've had those interviews too, where like at first it was questionable as if the person was really taking me seriously, but in the end, you feel like they do, at least.
Yeah, I mean, after I did, like, I researched her, and I knew she was fairly serious, but then I watched videos of her with, like, Snoop being really funny, and so I was ready to, like, let the jokes fly, and I just wasn't prepared for that. But, you know, you live and learn, and now I know that that's who she is, and I shouldn't take it personally, and,
so,
you know, I did a little bit.
So, I mean, I like your show, your podcast, obviously because you're unfiltered, like your wine is making me be. But nonetheless, do you want to go further with the podcast, because you seem like you're really really into it and it shows. So, do you want to move on to like commercial radio, or what are your feelings in terms of broadcasting in general? Your broadcasting career?
I really, really love it. I've been doing that for 2 years. I'm learning so much as I go, and listening back, you learn the things that you say that you shouldn't say. Like, I say like all the time, and I'm working on that. And, you know, you learn as you go. You can't, it's not just something that comes naturally. You're not, you know, you're perfect at it. So I want to get better at it, and I feel like the more you do something, the better you get. And I love interviewing people. I love that, you know, it doesn't always have to be about me and Housewives.
Exactly.
Even though I find myself talking about myself a lot, where I'm like, wait, this isn't about me. I need to rein it in. But it's hard, and I'm learning to do that as we go. But, you know, you live and learn.
Well, you're not a narcissist, so I think that's why it comes off well. I don't think the other ladies could do it. You know what I mean? Because you're more authentic. That's why I like you, at least.
Yeah.
And I want to, I'm just rolling at this point. And I do want to end it talking about your career, but these two questions that I do want to ask are, one, I've watched a show. Do you find that you're into younger men now? Like, has your taste changed over time? Because me, personally, at first, everyone was always setting me on dates with older dudes and men that were older than me. But now, I'm really into younger guys. And I mean, I'm only like, what, 25, 26? So, to me, younger is like 18, 19.
But you're such a perv. No, you know what? I don't discriminate on age. It tends to be that the younger guys are the ones that hit on me. Like, middle-aged guys don't hit on me. I get the old farts, and I get the guys in their 20s. And I would really like to meet someone who's 45. But
you really do? Really?
Hitting on me.
You really do want to meet someone who's like a little older than you? Because now I think it's because over time I dating older guys and it wasn't really going anywhere. I feel like younger guys, they're more passionate, they're better in bed. Yeah. Maybe that's just because...
I mean, they're sweet. I mean, they have a good energy. But I just like who I like, and it doesn't matter if they're young or old or middle-aged, but I would, just for my children's sake, ultimately like to end up with someone who's a few years older than me, and so I don't have 3 little boys running around. I have a man and 2 little boys running around.
Very true. I'm just trying to get it out of my system before I have to get serious. You know what I mean?
You have plenty of time, my friend. You just take your time.
2 last questions before we end this out. I interviewed Susan Miller, the world-famous astrologer, recently, and she told me that I'm going into what Scorpio just got out of, which is like Scorpio had an amazing career run, and I'm just going into it now. She said, ask one of your Scorpio guests. So you're Scorpio, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Apparently you just got out of an amazing career run. So tell me, what are some exciting things I should expect? Doors opening?
Yeah, and I think ultimately you have to put yourself out there. You have to say yes to things that you might normally say no to. You have to do things that, when I got offered Apprentice, I said, absolutely not. I go, I'm not going to do Apprentice. I'm not, I'm not a business person. That's what it's all about. And my agent's like, really, Brandi, you're smarter than you think. Sleep on it. And I thought, you know what? Let me go on and see if I can do this. I mean, let me challenge myself. So I think ultimately you just have to start saying yes to things you might shut down and really like thinking about going outside of your comfort zone.
Good tips. Well, I'm looking forward to it because she said Scorpio just got out of it and now it's my time. And I'm
still in it. Don't get it twisted. I'm still in it.
Well, yeah, of course you're in it. I'm a Pisces. You're a Scorpio. You're part of like the water sign family. We're running shit nowadays, according to her. And if she says it, that means we're all good in the hood.
We're running it. That's for sure.
And to close this out, I want you to let everyone know what to expect. What's next? Plug away, my friend.
Okay, well, obviously, I'm working on my 3rd book, but you can get Drinking and Tweeting and Drinking and Dating now. The paperback for Drinking and Dating just went on sale, so look for that. Unfiltered Blonde Chardonnay. I have an amazing licensing deal for wine and accessories coming out, and that should be out next summer. I have some comedy sketches that will be released soon. I'm going to, Australia to work on a show called Spilled Milk, which I don't even know what it is, but I'm going. And then I have my things that are coming up with this amazing network, this huge network, and I can't wait to be able to tell you what it is and what I'm doing. I think that people will get to see a different side of me and find out that I really am fun.
Well, I'll be on the lookout, and I really thank you for taking this time to speak with me. I resonated with you from the get-go because we have some things in common. Being cheated on, you went to a hoodish high school. I went to school in the hood. You've had financial issues. I've had financial issues. So you're just like a real person, and I think that's why a lot of people relate to you. And I hope when you come back to New York, we could finally chillax and go to a couple of gay nightclubs or...
You have my information. You clearly know how to get a hold of me. And if you text or email me after this, and I'll set you up with Carlton so you can interview her.
Definitely. Thank you, by the way.
Okay, no problem. All right, well, have a good one.
You too. Best of luck. I mean it.
All right, bye, honey.
Bye. Still spinning after hearing that interview played back. I want to give a big shout out to my girl Brandi Glanville for not only releasing a very, very, very good Chardonnay, don't forget to peep unfilteredblonde.com, but thank you for answering all of my questions, which I'm sure is going to have many buzzing. That was probably one of the most fun, if not the most enjoyable podcasts that I have done thus far. So until next time, check out my website, willloveinc.com, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all social media under willloveinc. Much love and party hard. Peace out.
You've been listening to Culture Cafe with Will Lowe, presented by Podcast Tonight.